Coming up next, it's a new lamb put. Coming up next, it's Craig of the Creek. Coming up next, it's the amazing world of Gumball. Coming up next, it's Total Drama Rama. Craig of the Creek continues next. Coming up next, it's a new Wee Baby Bears. Coming up next, it's Wee Baby Bears. Coming up next, it's Wee Bear Bears. Coming up next, it's Regular Show. Coming up next, it's Sherlock Gnomes. Sherlock Gnomes continues next. Coming up next, it's the premiere of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Coming up next, it's Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots continues next. Coming up next, it's a new Craig of the Creek. Coming up next, it's Rise of the Guardians. Rise of the Guardians continues next. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Early Man. The premiere of Early Man continues next. Coming up next, it's the Polar Express. The Polar Express continues next. Coming up next, it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Coming up next, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory continues next. Coming up next, it's Elf. Coming up next, it's Teen Titans. Teen Titans continues next. Coming up next, it's Adventure Time. Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders continues next. Coming up next, it's Twister. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo and Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Scooby-Doo and Batman, the Brave and the Bold continues next. Chowder continues next. Coming up next, it's RV. Craig of the Creek, Capture the Flag continues next. Codename Kids Next Door continues next. Coming up next, it's Steven Universe. Steven Universe continues next. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Ella Enchanted. Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans continues next. The Lego Movie 2, the second part, continues next. Coming up next, it's the new Teen Titans Go Slam Dunk Special. Coming up next, it's Teen Titans Go Space House. Coming up next, it's a new Teen Titans Go. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo, Legend of the Phantasaur. Coming up next, it's Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. Coming up next, it's Craig of the Creek, Capture the Flag. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo and the Gourmet Ghost. Scooby-Doo and the Gourmet Ghost continues next. Coming up next, it's the premiere of The Never-Ending Story. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico. Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico continues next. Coming up next, it's Star Wars, Attack of the Clones. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. Scooby-Doo and Guess Who continues next. Scooby-Doo, Moon Monster Madness continues next. Coming up next, it's Shazam! Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo Stage Fright. Scooby-Doo Stage Fright continues next. Coming up next, it's Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. Coming up next, it's the Looney Tunes Show. The Looney Tunes Show continues next. Coming up next, it's a new Looney Tunes cartoons. Coming up next, it's Looney Tunes cartoons. Coming up next, it's Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes continues next. Coming up next, it's Clarence. Coming up next, it's the premiere of the Peanuts movie. Coming up next, it's the Peanuts movie. The Peanuts movie continues next. Coming up next, it's the Smurfs. The Smurfs continues next. Coming up next, it's the Smurfs 2. The Smurfs 2 continues next. Coming up next, it's Scoob. Scoob continues next. Coming up next, it's the new Total Drama-Rama Special. The Total Drama-Rama Special continues next. Coming up next, it's Teen Titans Go Super Summer Hero Camp. Teen Titans Go Super Summer Hero Camp continues next. Coming up next, it's Total Drama-Rama. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Superman 2. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Superman 3. Coming up next, it's Teen Titans Go Beast Boys That's What's Up. Teen Titans Go Beast Boys That's What's Up continues next. Coming up next, it's Teen Titans Go The Night Begins to Shine 2. Adventure Time continues next. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island. Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island continues next. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13th Ghost. Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13th Ghost continues next. Coming up next, it's Big Top Scooby-Doo. Big Top Scooby-Doo continues next. Coming up next, it's Smallfoot. Coming up next, it's more new Teen Titans Go. Coming up next, it's Chill Out Scooby-Doo. Chill Out Scooby-Doo continues next. Tom and Jerry continues next. Tom and Jerry Tales continues next. Tom and Jerry Kids continues next. The premiere of Tom and Jerry Back to Oz continues next. The Tom and Jerry Show continues next. Coming up next, it's a new The Tom and Jerry Show. Coming up next, it's Teen Titans Go Island Adventures. Teen Titans Go Island Adventures continues next. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo Shaggy's Showdown. Scooby-Doo Shaggy's Showdown continues next. Coming up next, it's Uncle Grandpa. Uncle Grandpa continues next. Coming up next, it's Batman. Coming up next, it's Summer Camp Island.